Boom. Ah! Blooperville. Is that kind of Friday? It's a Monday Friday. How are all of you? This is Anne. Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and disembodied voice, or brain, or hands, or whatever weird organs he is right now, Justin. Yep, sploosh. I forgot my sploosh. I hit the wrong F key. F. Can we get an F in chat for that kind of Friday? Oh dear. There's my esports sentiment. Yeah, thank you, Grey Wolf. I knew that. I haven't called for an F in chat ever. But that's how I feel today. Thank you all. It's a comedy kind of F, you know. But as you know, those days you wake up and you just are like, I'm off here. I don't know where the rest of the world is. Good morning. Morning, love. Yes, you started streaming late yesterday. I was waiting at 11:30 and then I had to go take my walk. So I was meaning to go and watch your stream because it was interesting. Yesterday was a really interesting topic. Guys, yesterday Love and Music did a stream on how to 3D print from printing it all the way through cleaning it up, all the prep and everything, which I always think is very interesting if you're thinking about getting into 3D printing. But I did watch you for a little while, so. Oh, yeah. Oof. Oh, 4 a.m. Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, it's a morning. Tiny hearts for all of you, though. See, I'm just channeling my inner esports nerd now. No, I'm going to do tiny hearts, too. Let's see. Tiny hearts. Yes, follow Love. She's brand new to the hobby, and she's really cool. And she's a fellow Bay Area mini painter, so once we get a painting club going again, Love, I'll totally let you know. I was just thinking about that today with the good vaccination news for California. I was wondering if pretty soon we can resurrect the paint club. Alrighty, so I glued in her arm. I haven't done the green. I'm going to do the rest of the paint, and I think the green is going to be the last thing I do. I also need to use a hairdryer to straighten out her spear a little bit. There we go. I don't mind the bendy thing, but if I'm going to send it to Ron, he probably doesn't want a bent spear. So, For me, it just reminds me of Zulu spears, where they're kind of wobbly. Yeah, painting with friends in person is the best painting. That's why, Twitch is a good sub, but, it could be even better. So, alright, I'm going to do the red and the black. We're going to try to get a whole bunch of different colors done today, because we need to do these feathers. And I need to do her bikini top, which I totally forgot to do with the red. The other thing I want to do is throw some shading down here on the side of the shield, because I shaded the red, but I didn't really shade the gray, so we're going to do that. I think I need to do the base is going to be the last thing we do. First we get the statue all done, then we worry about the base. And I need to do these feathers, and I need to do the spearhead up there. Yes, I was lying in wait. That's all right. I mean, it's Twitch, right? Anybody starts on time. Look at me this morning. I was a wreck. But I'm down another 0.8 pounds this morning on my diet, so yay. Can't really call it a diet anymore because I think it's my new lifestyle because it's not that far from what I was doing before. It's just actually tracking my calories a little better. So the food I eat isn't much changed except that I've introduced a little more fresh fruit. Yeah. Oh, did I get a blorf? Twitch was glaring at me. I feel Twitch has this, entity that's the Eye of Sauron, and it's just, kind of slowly looking at all of the Twitch streamers at any given point, and when the Eye of Twitch, fixates on you, that's when you get, weird whale noises, and bionic voice, and, missed frames, and if it really doesn't like you, your stream drops. That's the way I feel about, Twitch. It's got this entity. Maybe I've been playing too much WoW with the Eye of the Jailer thing. Hunger is a great equalizer. I actually am not hungry, War Shadow, which is great. My diet is, I'm watching my calories. I find that I don't lose weight at this point because I'm decent, right? I'm not as nearly as obese as I was a long time ago. But I find that I need to really track calories at this point to make progress. So it's not like I'm cutting a ton of calories. I'm still eating a lot of what I did, but I mean, I'm cutting from like accidentally eating way too many calories to actually being conscious of what I'm eating. So it makes a big difference. Alrighty, red on the bikini. Oh, I may have overthinned that because I do the automatic thinning. Oh, I do low carb war shadow, and I found that on keto and then low carb, because you're not eating a lot of like carbs that tend to make your blood sugar spike, you get rid of a lot of the hunger. It also depends on how much you're limiting it though, right? Like I am a fairly short, older female, so I don't need a lot of calories a day. My Fitbit says usually I burn between 2,000 and 2,200 because I exercise. So I go down to like 1,500 seems to be my sweet spot, which I can still eat all the food that I like. I just can't eat as much of it. But if I'm hungry, I add some calories, but I try not to like go crazy. But yeah, it's different for everybody though, right? It's totally different for everybody. Like, everybody's body is different. Everybody's metabolism is different. So like some people like low calorie, really, like you say, you get a lot of hunger and you just can't work it. I have only good things to say about keto on that because I had that experience also when I tried to cut calories in the past. But the ketogenic diet worked for me where nothing else did. And now I feel like I'm a little better as far as being able to handle, like, I know what works for me, right? That's the key, I think, is learn what works for you. Oh, baby weight. Yeah, it is tough weight to lose, right? Oh, you did keto and lost... See, I lost 60 pounds too, love. It works for some people. Like, if you can adapt your diet to that, and if you're not a breadivore like David... Or even if you are, but you're able to find... Like, for me, I just took up low-carb baking, and it helped. Because then I was able to bake my own cookies and my own muffins that were low-carb, using almond flour and coconut flour. I still do that. I still make low-carb cookies. Hey, VCR, thanks for the resub. Oh, I know, Chibi. I know. I'm there. I'm actually in that zone now where I'm old enough. I had my doctor annual, and they're like, yep, your hormones are going away now. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even notice. But it does make it harder. Even harder, we should say. It's already hard to lose weight. But yeah, I'm like thrilled to find out. See, I knew I loved you, love. I'm thrilled to find out you are a fellow low carber. That's awesome. I went off the keto and onto low carb when I moved out here with David because David is not low carb, and I wanted to be able to cook stuff for both of us. So I still mostly do a low carb profile on meals, and he just adds in like a naan bread or some white rice if for him. Yeah, lifestyle change for sure, absolutely, and thinking of it that way is key. Good, yay. Well, yeah, congrats on the 60-pound loss because yeah, I did it too. It took me a lot longer. I did it over the course of about 2 years. And then there have been times since then where I've added on 10 or 15, and that's actually what I'm trying to lose right now. Is my added 15 from the move and the diet slide. Start a new relationship, move in with your boyfriend, gain 15 pounds. True. I'm doing the Noom app right now, which is kind of cool because I can still go low carb. It has made me more conscious of like the foods I eat, like as far as the category that they're in, as far as nutritional density. But it's nice because it is a psychology based diet, so it's making me face up to some of my food issues, like always cleaning my plate, and it's making me more conscious of when I'm doing that thing, eating when I'm not hungry, stuff like that. So I'm liking it. And then the other thing about Noom is it doesn't limit anything. You can still have cookies, you can still have cheesecake. You're supposed to treat yourself. It's like, just don't do it all the time, so the fact that it's not forbidden to go out with David, like tomorrow night, to a fancy restaurant and have a really, really sugary dessert, and my diet is like, good for you. Now, yeah, you're good. Don't guilt yourself about food. So, because guilting yourself about food is half the problem, right? So yeah, it's, I could say, I mean, I thought I was pretty good on the psychology aspect of dieting, but Noom is alerting me to some dysfunctions I still had. Oh no! It's the fiance weight. Oh no! Ah, yeah, that makes sense, love. Yeah, keto is pretty forgiving. You can have a sin day and it's not going to kick you out of keto. Yep, I am with you. That's why I was able to stick with it. Like, it seems like a lot of people think it's very extreme, but I found keto to be very doable. But it's like everybody's different, right? And it depends on what works for you. Do you do low carb baking, love? Or do you cook a lot? Because I found I had to learn to cook in self-defense. Noom. Yes, it's moon backwards. It's like, it costs money, but men gain weight when they're happy, declare men. That's funny. Women are the opposite. Like, we gain weight when we're stressed. You're so funny. He must be super happy. But yeah, it's a psychological, like, it's a psychology-based weight loss app. They quote a lot of studies, and they kind of go into, like, the why of why you're eating. And if you have questions, you get a personal coach, which I've actually used once, which I never thought I would. I'm usually a very isolated dieter. I like to do my thing and not have a lot of people talking to me about it as far as telling me what to do. But there we go. We got our red bra strap. Let me get very, very in focus here. But yeah, the bottom line for losing weight is just to figure out what makes your brain click and work with what works for you, right? The best diet plan is the worst diet plan for you if it doesn't work. And try to avoid extremes. That's the only thing I've learned. I mean, some would say keto is an extreme, but only for a little while. Which is fair. Weird, Nomad Zeke. No. Yeah, we have to cook a lot. Yeah, I learned to cook better in self-defense. Oh yeah, maybe it's a DST change. Yeah, because we had a time change. We sprung forward. We had daylight savings time hit in. So if you're still on a slightly different time and your state or your country has not yet done the adjustment, that could be it. All right. Yay. Bikini is now in where bikini should be. David does not like her battle thong, but I told him Twitch made it necessary. So we're blaming Twitch. We're blaming the battle thong on Twitch. No self-respecting statue would otherwise be seen in a battle thong. Alrighty, so that's our red. Do I have any other red to take care of? Well, I've got my red mixed up. I cannot see any red that I need to take care of. Everything else looks pretty good. Oh yeah, I need to darken down that red right there on the other side of the ox. Oh, is it again? Twitch, stop being twitchy. What was I using? I think I was using Dragon or something. Carry on. Well, I've already started Nomad Zeke, so if I am accidentally an hour off, and if I could have gotten an extra hour of sleep, then I'm peeved. Oh dear. I've just decided it's a silly day. I'm going to adopt the Camelot philosophy for this one. The Monty Python Camelot philosophy. It's a silly place. Let's not go there. It's just today is a silly day. Let's just get through it. Although I am making red Rajasthani curry, lamb curry tonight. It's a new recipe. I've been wanting to try it. And I've got my lamb all thawed in the refrigerator, so I'm like, I like lamb a lot. I know a lot of people. My mom doesn't like it at all. My sister-in-law grew up on it because her people have a sheep farm. So they are used to mutton and lamb on the table. Streamlabs and Twitch. You're okay with more RTB. Yeah. So I'm just darkening down this area because it's on the other side of the ox head, so we would have a little bit of a darker red here. And then I'll mix up, let's do the black next. Get that out of the way. Well, let's see here. Yeah. Arizona once again proves daylight savings time is silly. Yes, yes. Yeah, female version of 300 Spartan. Yep. Of course she wears olive oil. It's healthy. It's what you're supposed to do, right? I liked 300. In fact, our dog Leo was named after King Leonidas in the movie 300. Because we were trying to come up with a name that Bozak and I could agree on. And we watched 300, and we both really loved Leonidas. And so I was like, how about Leonidas? And we could be called Sparta Shilohs. And so that was it. So that's why we had a Leo. Alrighty. Yeah, let's do the black next because it's small. And then we'll do the stone and then the bronze. Oh, 80. Ooh. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I hate that. Like, my allergies respond to barometric pressure drops like that, too. I'm with you, Nomad Zeke. That just sucks. It is not a fun. Negative fun, as we used to say back when I was in college. Where is my nightmare black? I need something blue-ish. I want these feathers to look shiny like raven feathers. Yes, 1800 abs. Are you complaining, Chibi? I was not complaining. Not one bit. That's what I thought. It's that rare movie that women can go to and go, ooh, and the guys are still going, yeah, because it's got a lot of fighting. The guys just kind of gloss over the abs. Make those abs go away. It's the invisible hand wave to make the abs go away. Let's see, I've got to touch up this one spot. Looks like it got a little rub off. It's a problem with that edge of the feathers. And I'm just going to go for it. Let's just put some white right into our base coat. And if I need some more black, I can mix it up. Yeah, it really had some beautiful cinematography. Yeah, I agree. It was just, it was really done well, like comic book adaptation kind of thing. Volleyball sequence in Top Gun, same thing. Yep. It's like, and for the female audience, here you go. Okay, back to the action. 38 this morning with fog, 65. Oh, and thunderstorms. Weird. Yeah, you are getting all gamut. That can be kind of topsy-turvy, right? With the barometric pressure. I don't know. We're supposed to get really beautiful weather this weekend. It's supposed to be 75, which David and I are happy about because we have our dinner reservation for outdoor dining tomorrow. And I can't wait because it's really tasty restaurant. It's kind of our local place that we really like that serves really good food. It's not like Michelin starred, but it's just really good food. Photoshop made a killing on that movie. You're so funny, Warshadow. You are so right. Although when you read about the crazy stuff they had to do to get that in, like, all of the actors who were playing Spartans, like, to get down to a certain percentage of body fat. Crazy fitness training regimen. All right, so we're doing the red and blue thing today. So this blue will just be put on in tiny touches on these feathers to bring up highlights. Is the ship still stuck? Everybody loves the big boat. I was reading about, I was reading an article, I think it was an opinion in The Atlantic, about the big stuck boat. And it was interesting because he's like, yeah, this is the stuff we never think about, right? It's like all of our goods like move through this on these huge ships and you know, we just don't think about where our stuff comes from. And now everybody's focusing on it because suddenly we're going to start getting shortages and stuff. And about how the boat is completely memeing, like people are making a meme out of it because it's just so much like so many other things in life. Just gonna do little quills. And again, it doesn't so much matter if you hit the actual features of the sculpt as long as you have the texture. I'm going to get the central quill here. We're just going to start with a blue. Let me get it closer. We're just going to start with that gray blue because we want this to still be a black feather, but we want a little bit of detail to show up in that black. I mean, if you can see the little feather details, you can paint them. But yeah, I wanted to go black like ravens. Yeah, I saw that they had the ships may have to reroute. Except the ones that are stuck in the canal behind it are going to have a hard time. Like, they're going to have to back out after everybody else, like, leaves. Poor ship. And also poor crew members on all those ships, kind of stuck living on board for much longer than they usually do. But yes, the big stuck boat. Yeah. Yeah, I was going with red feathers before, but I really like the black feathers because, like, carrion birds, right? Or birds that flock around a battlefield. And I feel like that's a more fitting feather for her than, like, a hawk or an eagle or any other type of feather. Because she's a guardian and a warbringer. But yeah, I mean, you could try to hit all the different quills, like, as they're actually sculpted, or you could just generalize. And either one is going to work. And I probably am going to take some black back in here and make sure that I've got enough black. Just to make sure that the feathers don't end up looking blue. You got to watch that when you're doing this. You want to make sure that you concentrate toward the outer edge and the details. You want to bring out the details, but you don't want to change the color of the surface. That's the hard part. That's why you got to keep your highlights small, and if they get too big, then you need to change it. Bring in some more black and wipe some of that out. But yes, the boat is gloriously screwing up all sorts of things. It is the biggest oopsie, literally and figuratively. There we go. I want a little bit on this side. Just on the underside. This feather isn't sculpted, not very flat, but I'll try to get a little bit on the underside at least, or on this side. There. All right, now let's get our next highlight on to bring that edge out. Morning, Otter Mama. How you doing? We are touching up the last bits of our statue, and then I've got a, at the very end, we may have to wait for next time on this one. I want to come back in and get this. I also want to bring out some more details on her face. I want to come in with a darker shadow up here, and maybe even give her, like, glowing eyes or something. I just have ignored that part up to this point. So we have maybe a couple more streams on this lady before she's done. I think I have queued up behind her, I have queued up the wyvern. I was sorting out my model options yesterday to figure out who is going to be replacing whom, since we have, like, Mr. Dark Iron Dwarf or Dark, whatever we call it, Dwarf. Dark Dwarf Smiter. That guy. He is almost done. This one's almost done. Dancing Girl is almost done. We already know a Dancing Girl is going to give way to Lizette, so we're going to do that. And I think I have Fungal Queen like queued up behind Sphinx right now. So it really depends on how long Sphinx takes to finish as to when we will get to Fungal Queen. One thing with big models that I'm trying to watch is I'm trying not to pick anything like the big giants, because as I experienced with the Fire Giant King, it results in me doing a lot of stuff over and over that is boring for you guys. Or I perceive that it is boring for you guys. Like always repeating, you know, you've got eternal tons of bracelets to do, or you've got tons of iron armor to do, or you've got, you know, you have a lot of the same thing to do on giants. And so I feel like that's not as ideal. Oof, that's bright. I do need some black. I'm going to get my black out here. Where are you, black? You're hiding. There you are. Is that you? No. There's my black. Soon as you have paint loaded or unloaded. Does it do it? That's weird, Fubeka. So, okay, when you just put water in it and you squeeze the water out, does it fork? Cookie, thank you. Thank you for the 2-month sub. Okay, so then the question is, if it holds a point when there's just water, then I have to question, like, what exactly is happening when you load paint? Because it shouldn't change. And if the brush keeps a point while wet, it should keep a point while loaded. So could it be, I'm trying to think. I don't know that thick paint might do it. How much are you thinning your paint? That's really weird, because if I load, it's just going to continue to hold. That's really weird, Rebecca, because yeah, a brush, I mean, the definition of a good brush is, you know, you wet it and then you look at if it sticks together, and if it sticks together when you just wet it with water, it's a good brush. So 1 drop of water to 2 or 3 drops of paint. All right, yeah, that's really odd. Like, are you kind of, when you unload your brush, have you tried kind of twirling it? So like, load up and don't load up very much, right? You don't want to load up very much. And then when I kind of dab it, I'm turning the brush in a circle, kind of rolling it in my fingers. So I'm kind of doing a this as I dab it, and then a that. And that tends to keep it in a well-pointed, rounded thing. Whereas if I do like back and forth, then it turns into more of a paddle, and I can see how that might fork. Yeah, try that. See if that helps to shape your point up again. Other than that, I mean, maybe just, you know, put some conditioner in them, you know, let them sit for a bit and try them again. But if it's wet, it should be fine. Like, if water's surface tension can hold your brush together, your paint should do the same. So it's really weird. Yeah, try to twirl it when you unload. See if that helps, because that's very odd. All right. Oh, that's right. I was reaching for black. And good day, Monster Den Minis. Sorry, I was trying to troubleshoot for a person, and I almost missed it when you said it. Yeah, I see you guys saying it's not boring. It does get boring for me, because as I'm the person who has to sit and talk, if I'm constantly going over the same topics, I really feel like I'm just like not in it. So I like to be able to talk about a little bit of something different. The best models for tutorials are the ones where you're doing a little bit different stuff here and there every day. Hello, Sam. How's it going? Yeah, try that in the brush twirl, Fubeka, and hopefully that will help. All right, we're going to get some black, and I'm going to put just a little water in it. Yeah, because I'm the one who has to talk about it, right? So, Shadow Raven, so if I have to make up stuff to talk about and I sound like I'm a broken record, then it's just like, I feel like I should just shut up because you've all already seen it, but I can't shut up, so I just have to repeat myself. Yeah, it's just not ideal. Not ideal. I got really sick of the Fire Giant King because of that. That's part of why I just tossed him to the curb. And it's why, even though I have the female Fire Giant, the Fire Giant Queen, who I really like, she's going to be another one where you're always doing the same things. So unless I like speed paint her or something, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should do the Fire Giant Queen speed paint where Anne tries to do everything super fast. That might be something that we can do. You can all listen to me cuss a lot about it. All right, so that quill's showing up. Well, showing up really well, really brightly on camera. I might glaze it down. We'll see. I do like the feathers to be a bit shiny, so we'll see how it goes. Oh, that one got a little thick. Sometimes the bones, like some of the details are a little bit shallow, and you make a little blurf like that. Now, on my second highlight, I'm going to just stick to the edges of this feather. Much smaller highlight than my initial one. Let's see here. I'm going to get this out of position so we can see that a little bit better. We don't want to spend too much time on something that's essentially a very small detail, but we do want to spend enough time so that it looks nice. And that we obviously did spend some time on it. No, if it thins down a lot where it really is not holding paint well, usually for me though, it is the tip and how thin it gets. Like Zorblack, when I tend to use my brushes, they tend to just, I don't ever lose the tip, but they get thinner and thinner. I don't think I have one of my old Da Vinci's anymore. But essentially, if you look at the difference between my two Raphaels, the new one versus the one I've been using, hold on. So the one on the right is one I've been using. You can see how it's lost a bit of its girth compared to my brand new one. And the tip has gotten shorter, but that's probably just because I've lost hairs. So for me, when this gets so narrow that it's really not holding paint well anymore, then it'll be dead. But I tend not to ever lose the tip. And the tip is what's important other than the paint holding ability. So, I mean, if you're using a synthetic, then your brush tip may hook or splay. And then for me, that's it. That's why I tend to only use that. I don't even use those for base coating anymore. I just use a cheaper red sable for base coating. Wishes losing hair would make you thinner. These are the Raphael, but the same thing happens to my Da Vinci's Cookie Tigress. My Da Vinci's get thinner and thinner and thinner until they get so thin that I won't be able. You can kind of see this too, is getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And there will come a point when this brush is so very thin that its tip won't spring back anymore. Like I'll lose some of that firmness of the tip, and that really impacts how well you can utilize the brush. It's like trying to use a liner at that point, which is a very soft brush tip. And I like to have a little bit of strength in my brush because if I'm trying to put a tiny detail on, I need my brush to hold up to that and not just collapse. So yeah, the 1-haired brush is not usable. Neither is the 10-haired brush, or technically the 20-haired brush. Like, you need a lot of hairs here. I don't remember how many hairs there are in an average brush. Like, it would vary by the size, obviously, but you get to a point where the thinner a brush is, the harder it is to use for you. Because, like, there's this, right? Okay, so this is a really thin brush, right? It's really equivalent to just the top part of this. But when these brushes work, these tiny brushes work, because even though they're thinner, they're also shorter. The less length you've got on your bristle, the stronger your brush is going to be, the better it's going to hold up, the firmer it's going to be, the less mushy. You don't want a mushy brush. But with this one, when this one gets thinner than this, and I've got all this area, then this brush will be very weak. Like it'll splay and deform and not spring back very well. And that's when I give up on it. Because I need it to be firm enough that when I touch the tip down and try to put, a detail down, it's not going to just kind of collapse or not work. And that will happen when these thin down too much. That's where I toss the brush, because it's no longer useful. Let's see here. Maybe I will switch to tiny brush. Been doing more tiny brush stuff lately when I feel like dealing with it. But this is a good time. This is a good subject for tiny brush because we're doing tiny things. Tiny details where you don't need much paint is a good reason to use tiny brush. But yeah, like this little brush, I don't know how long he'll last just because he's got fewer hairs and, you know, he's much more narrow to begin with. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, that's a synthetic brush, Cookie Tigress. Synthetic means it's not natural hair, and it's plastic. And what happens to plastic when you rub it against a surface repeatedly like this is you gently abrade the plastic and it fluffs out a little bit at the tip and then it deforms. Sure, Fubeka, I'm glad. That's what I love to hear. I love to hear you guys are getting enough like from my stream that you're improving, right? You're improving your paint work and seeing progress on your paint goals, which is awesome. I just want everybody to be producing all these awesome paint jobs that I can look at and enjoy without having to paint them myself. That said, we got a little bit of progress done on Halfling yesterday. I almost got some stuff done on her last night, but I decided that I needed kind of an off night to just relax away from the paint station. So I'm going to try to get some stuff done on Halfling this, my own project this weekend, because I'm still eyeballing all those beautiful models that I got and I'm about to get because Limbo's shipping. There does come a point where so many beautiful models dump themselves on my doorstep that I'm just like, what? And I just get paralysis. Choice paralysis? Is that decision paralysis? That's what it is. Like, what should I paint next? I don't know! Go and hide under the bed. So there's our little feathers. Coffee time. Laundry break. Yeah. I don't even want to look at our bathroom love of music. Like, it's like, I need to spend some time on it this week. Let's just say that. It's like so many things to do that cleaning the house comes. I'm also going to put just a kind of a sharp, kind of a diffused highlight on part of this and see how that works. Like where I'm painting blue-gray kind of over the whole thing. See it? That's a glaze, so I'm going to wick some of that off with a damp brush. Because I put it on. And I want to fade that in a little bit too, so I'll just grab some black and fade that in. Make it a little less obvious. There. So I kind of want that because the feathers are kind of going to pick up light in general. Like, you're not always, with a textured thing like this, you can do the technique that I just did. But the other way to do it is to do it en masse, where there would be part of the feather that the light kind of hits and runs down. I am going to reintroduce a little bit of my black here to wash that out. There. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. Okay, now I'll give a little bit more highlight just in that lighter area. Oh, Reaper Challenge League. Yeah. Yeah, I've got so much to clean. Although, I don't know. Our main room's pretty good. Although I really should do the floors. Like, when you start feeling kind of, like, jittery about, like, thinking about your bathroom and your floors, then that's probably the time you have to clean them. Alright, so a little bit of a higher highlight there because I've implied that the light is falling here. So, oh, I'm going blue because I got my hand behind there. There we go. It's a little brighter. And then we'll probably call it there. Just say that our crow feathers are done. Just a little bit brighter here. Oh, that got a little bit out of control. Oh, remodeling. Nice, Nomad Zeke. That's exciting. Yeah. Touch up, retouch. Yep, almost stretch time. Yeah, you should do it. Mess around with your airbrush. Make it a day to practice stuff. There we go. All right, I like those feathers pretty well. And then I just have to look at this and see if I like the underside, and I think I do. It's just fine. Maybe I'll do a little bit on the edges here. Just a touch of white. I think I accidentally blorfed a little up there. That's not bad. Just an edge to make that look a little bit more interesting. Alrighty, and then, yep. Feathers, the feathers are really thick, so you have to kind of imagine them as kind of a bundle of feathers, maybe. And just make enough for them to show up. Excellent. Alright, we don't have any more black on here, do we? That's pretty much it, except for the pole. But I'm good with that. Alright, excellent. We are on to bronze. Or no, we're on to stone. Adjusting the stone. Compressors in the basement. Yeah, that's a problem. If you want to use your airbrush more, you should move your compressor somewhere where it's more handy. That is one thing I've learned. We have, I think we've got ours in the closet right over there, so it's easy to just grab it. If David wants to airbrush. Nice. Yeah, it's a bonus when your compressor is quiet, right? All right, so let's look. What have I got here? Marble. It's the wolf gray and brown liner. Right. All right, we're wolf gray. Where are you? There you are. Nice, Fubeka. Yeah, it is a bonus when you have a nice quiet compressor, because they can be annoying. Brown liner. That's right, I really have to make a Reaper paint order. And what else was I gonna order? More lantern yellow, I think. All right, let's mix up this paint. It's 2-to-1 wolf gray to brown liner. I'm gonna see if it's dark enough to really give me a good shadow. Yeah, that'll let me, because I want to build it up in a couple of layers. So the color is that. So it's a nice dark gray. And now I'm gonna thin the heck out of it. It's got 1 water in it. Let's give it 2 more waters and make it 1-to-1. And what we'll probably do next time is refine her face and finish the base, is what I'm thinking. If I get through all the rest of the stuff. Oh, hey, it's stretch time. Stretch time. Let's do that before I start on this shield. We'll just back up a little bit so you guys can see her while we are there. Nice pose. She'll pose while we're doing stretches. Stretch. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Much stretching. You get my dragon on the pile of gold dice t-shirt today. Oh boy. Oh, back bend. That always makes stuff click back into place. Ugh. Yep, stretch time. Lace your fingers together and put them up over your head. Lean your neck back so it remembers how to bend that way. That's what I always do. Ugh. Much better. Back. Oh yeah, the TC40T. Okay, Master. Yeah, Master puts out some good stuff. They're a good, like, getting into the hobby airbrush. I think that's what I have even. I have their beginner airbrush kit. It comes with a tiny little compressor. But I haven't had a reason to use it, really, because of the way I like to paint is so different from that. Alright, stretchies. Good stuff. I'm going to go down to my cat cows. Get up, get yourself a drink, everybody. Stretch yourself. Remind your back that it bends the other way. And that your shoulders, like, don't just type at a keyboard. There we go. All right. Ugh, almost. Alrighty. Yay! Time to hydrate. Sweet. Yeah, especially in an apartment like we are. Hydration. All right. Let's see here. Oh, I need a bigger brush. If I'm going to glaze across this big round shield, I want a bigger brush. You're in a tiny apartment as well. We're in a slightly larger apartment because we're not in San Francisco proper, but David used to have a very small one. Love. Like, when I was first talking about moving out here, he's like, you could move in with me. And then I'm like, not in this apartment. Because he used to be on, oh, where was it?
On 24th Street in Noe Valley in San Francisco.
24th Street and Noe Valley in San Francisco. She's in Chinatown. Which is a little ways. That's where I stayed at the hotel after I visited you after BlizzCon. I stayed down near Chinatown. Interesting. That's interesting, D. Clearman. If you have any mechanical skills, you can convert a refrigerator compressor to work with an airbrush. They will run essentially silent. Interesting. Huh. Yeah, I have a tiny little hood, like a little tiny hood that catches particles. That's portable, that breaks down. Oh, painting is your happy spot, love? That's funny. All right, that's my happy spot too. All right, so we want to shade this because we can see that we've got a shadow here in the red. So we need to take down some of our marble a little bit. And essentially what I've done is I've thinned this paint down to about a 1:1. So you can see how watery it is from the way it's fallen off the side here. Really watery. I could actually even take it down just a little bit more. But if I want this to work fast, so there are two ways you can do it. You can do it like with a little bit more water and build up a couple of layers, which for new people I kind of recommend that. Because you can go up in tiny increments and get a feel for things. Instead of going too thick out the gate and not liking how it looks. But yeah, painting is very zen. It's nice and relaxing. So I do not blame you, love. Painting used to be my happy zone. Like, it was just, I could go and I just relax and do the thing. And now when you do it for a living, it's like a little bit, you know, it adds a little bit. It takes away from that just a bit. But for the most part, I can still enjoy doing my own projects. So I'm just pretty much darkening down, trying to preserve my marbling. But I'm just darkening it. You can see I'm darkening it just a little, and it's much brighter up here now. And that's kind of what I wanted. I just wanted that suggestion of a shadow. And I'll actually make it a little bit stronger by putting one more coat on down here below, just down in the area at the bottom in just a sec. Once my first layer dries. That'll give us a little bit more. Aw. That's understood, though. Like, when your job that actually pays the bills does take priority. In my case, the job that is striving to pay the bills is my actual painting, so. And for the most part, I'm doing okay. Could improve. Definitely room for improvement. There we go. See how much that light is now up here and shadow is now down here. And that's where it should be. Alrighty. Now I did get also a little bit of super glue shine up here, so I can take my gray and actually put a little glaze over that, which may work. Sometimes a glaze will go, when you get a shiny spot of super glue, a glaze will help to tone it down. Here I went quite dark, so I'll have to bring that up again a little bit. So let's go up and re-highlight this area a little bit now to make up for that shadow. And then I have lost the shiny. Yay. Up here, probably not worth doing anything. I'm going to be putting some green to hide that crack. Could also bring up a lighter gray up here to, again, bring the light more obviously up on the top part of the shield. There we go. So now I can see more of a light and a dark, which I like. All right, cool. Yeah, if someone leaves a fridge at your house for a decade, I say it's yours. Break it down for airbrush parts. Let's see here. And you know what? There's a lot of other stonework I could touch up here. Like, I think I want more of a highlight here and here. Some of this stuff we can touch up next time, though, when we deal with her face. Beer purposes. You guys are funny. You are so amusing. Alrighty. There we go. Okay. Let us tackle the bronze. We're being very good today. We're staying on target, and I've got about half an hour, a little more than half an hour to deal with the remaining bronze on the model. We might have time to start to tackle the face and the rest of the stonework. Maybe. We'll see. I need green for the bronze patina. I was using Peacock. You all can make that by mixing some clear blue and brilliant green. Watch out, because the clear blue will overwhelm things very quickly. But Peacock has a very heavy front load of blue. It's, of course, a canceled color. But it's still my favorite for bronze. I would say that if somebody abandons something for 10 years at your house, no matter what it is, it's yours. That would be the definition of abandonment, I think. Alrighty, so we've got our nice dark, Peacock is a nice dark green. 30 days technically in California? Yeah, there we go. Some of you guys know I follow Overwatch League because I like my Overwatch a lot. But there was a streamer living with some of the talent from Overwatch League, and he moved out and left a bunch of his stuff just sitting in their apartment. So at BlizzCon that year, one of them came out with a box of his crap and just tossed it into the stands to his fans. I thought that was brilliant. That was in LA. He definitely abandoned it for at least 30 days. There we go. Just keeping my reds working just in case I need them. Alrighty. Green. And I think I want to use... Yeah, I'll use... Bigger brush today? Bigger brush? Little brush? Medium brush? Let's use medium brush. I don't know. So much... As you can see, my... Like, which brush I use is very interchangeable. Uses good point. Yeah, time gets away from you, Joe. It does. I'd say after 14 years, that crap is yours and they might not even remember it anymore. Alright, so let's just kind of map out. Ooh, that's really strong. So when I can do... Let's see here. Do I want it that strong? Let's see here. So... I want to kind of do a little bit of a stipple, an irregular pattern probably. And we can thin it just a little bit and make it more of a soft shadow here on the spear. But I like to build up. If it's verdigris, it's mostly going to be around this area, which is where moisture would run down. I probably need to get my rich leather out because if I have to touch anything up, I'm going to need it. Have I exhausted my old rich leather yet? It's almost. I have an almost empty bottle. Tosses candy from the stage. Reinhardt's voice actor is awesome. There's actually almost all of the Overwatch voice actors are fantastic people. I just love that community. And my Overwatch League is starting up again soon, so I'm happy. We'll have games to listen to while I paint. And I have hopes that the Texas teams won't stink this year. Although I can't really complain now because I live in the Bay Area and San Francisco Shock have won the Grand Finals 2 years in a row. So really can't complain about which Overwatch team. But part of me still has some loyalty to the Texas teams. I still like to see them do well. And they've not done well since the start of Overwatch League. So hopefully this is a different year. I was never into sports as a kid, but now I've become an Overwatch esports junkie. I can stop anytime. Alright, so let's put a little white into our... I'm going to put just a little white into our rich leather and make it a little more opaque. You can get away with that. Putting just a dab of white into a color. Yeah, that's what I heard, War Shadow. Oh, is he? Is that the same person? I didn't realize that Matt was McCree. Just trying to kind of figure out where my highlights are going to go here. I've mixed a little bit of white in with some rich leather. And I'm just bringing up some edges and areas. Hey there, Twisted Oma. Rock on. No, because I only just barely like followed. I watched some Critical Role, like less than 3 episodes, and it didn't hold me, and so I don't follow, and I don't follow a lot of media, so I don't always draw those lines. I'm just like, oh yeah, that voice, that voice. Probably if I had recently seen, if I had seen a picture of McCree's voice actor since I watched Critical Role, I would have connected the dots. But yeah, I don't spend a lot of time on news media or coverage every day because I have so much else I have to get done. So, oh no, blorf, blorf. Dur, dur, dur. Paint over it. Nothing happened here. Go back to your homes. There's nothing to see here. Yeah, let's see here. Let's figure out our highlights. Oh, nice. Used to troll players with alt on Overwatch. Yeah, War Shadow. Exactly. That's cool. Well, then he gets another cool vote from me then, because Overwatch. I am impatiently waiting for Overwatch 2 to come out. Like most of people who like Overwatch. Seems like Blizz has gotten much slower in COVID. Is it just me, guys? Like, it's taking them a long time to do the latest big content patch for WoW. Like, they haven't even announced a date on it yet. Like, when it was first announced, people were like, oh yeah, maybe 6 weeks, right? And then one of our guildies who actually works in the online game, like, business actually said 6 months. And I'm like, what? No way. They wouldn't have announced it if it was going to be 6 months. And she's like, no, seriously, I work in the industry. 6 months. The kind of IP that they're showing us, like, they can't have that much actually done on it. And that scared me. I was like, oh no. Hello, Desmaria. Thanks. Yeah, she's here. Let me back out so you can see her. I'm working on the bronze, but she's a living statue. So she is all statue on one side. And then she is turning to life because she is detected an intruder. So she's mostly living on this side. I had to do that. I couldn't do the helmet half and half because it was sculpted as if it had stone cracks in it. So she's actually a bones model. She comes like all in two pieces, 3 pieces. No, I guess 4. The arms are separate. The shield's separate. Or no, the shield's on an arm. 3 pieces, 4 pieces. But it's building it is nothing. It's painting it. Painting it has taken us a while. I do a different model every day, and it's like an hour and a half show. And I think she's been in the rotation at least 6 weeks. Am I right, guys? I've lost track. I'd have to look how many episodes we've done on her. So, but I'm willing to bet it's at least 6 weeks, and 6 times 1.5. So at least 9 or 10 hours, I think, on this model. Yeah, but she's really easy to build. I mean, she's got the pillar, she's got her body, her head, and I think both arms. So 5 pieces. Really easy. And she's normally naked, but I put a bikini on her because Twitch. Because Twitch does not like it when we have the nudity. So yeah, so she has a battle thong. But right now she's getting really close to done. I'm just working on the bronze up here on the shield or on the spear, so that I can get that all set and then finish the stonework. Really, I just have to do a little more detail things on her face, I think, and tighten up the marble down here on her base. So next time we tackle her, she should get done. And then we'll swap to a different model. So I do a rotation of 6 different minis, and they're all different. Some are monsters, and some are player characters or player NPC villains. And I do a different one every day. We do a six model rotation. So she's up every 6 days. Let's see here. I think I want... Just trying to figure out... Vertical weapons are the hardest to figure out highlights and shadows on for non-metallic metal. Like... You know there's going to be some light falling off the side here. And on this side as well. And then you're going to get you're going to get light near the top. You're probably going to get light on this edge here. Oh, that's my Discord. Sorry, guys. Oh, I see. I need to probably mute it at this point if they're going to start chatting. Where is my mute things? One second, guys. Where is streamer mode? Do you guys know? Hold on, I'm going to turn off notifications. That's the only thing I can do here. And escape. Hopefully that'll stop it. Arg, it didn't. Alright, I'm going to just close Discord. Sorry, Discord. And then I'm going to get out of here. Close this obnoxious thing. Nothing worse than freaking Discord. And it's probably still going to want to give me stupid notifications. Right-click channel and mute. Okay, that's good to know. Arg! Seriously, there are times when I hate Discord, guys. One sec. Sorry for the disruption. Trying to find the channel it's coming from is the problem. Ah, there we go. Mute server. Good. Sweet. Done. Alrighty. There we are. Much better. There we go. Alright, so a little bit of light here and there. Let me get closer. And we're going to need a shadow, which means I'm probably going to need something like walnut or russet, or I just need to mix a little bit of my black with my rich leather and create kind of a quickie shadow if I'm not too concerned. That's dark. That's a problem with mixing anything with pure black, because it tends to be really potent. Thanks, Clover. I'm glad you like her. She's cool. I'll probably set it around. I think Reaper will get this one. It's like a balance between models I send to Reaper, models I decide to sell, and models I keep. But I don't keep very many. Not that I paint on here. Rock Troll's an exception. I really like Rock Troll, so he's sticking with me. And the Wraith Girl that we did. Ah! Sometimes, if a sculpt is just a little irregular, it will bite you. I'm going to touch up that edge there because it got a little bit too far over. So I'm going to put a dark shadow on it. There. So we want some shadows up near the top so that we get a little bit of drama. And we'll put a little bit down here as well. And then we need a little bit of a highlight down there. So I need to mix some white and I think a tiny bit of yellow into my rich leather. Not very much. Still playing with my bronze recipe to see what I like. I'm going to try just a little bit of NMM gold highlight in there. One of these days I'll figure out like my favorite recipes for brass, bronze, and gold, and I'll have to do a PDF about that. And as far as her spear goes, so it's a cylinder, so she's going to have highlights and highlights. Usually you highlight like every point of the compass on a cylindrical object at some point. You kind of have to figure out if there's a part that's going to get more light, and it's probably actually on this side because it's tilted. She definitely has it tilted that way so that if light is falling straight down, it'll be more strongly on this side by a bit. So that means our underside here doesn't get as much. It's kind of like the highlights here on my brush ferrule. It's the same thing with cylindrical highlights. Although this is very glossy, and her spear is not going to be quite this glossy, because this is very chrome on my brush. Very chrome, and spear is not chrome. But it'll have kind of a linear highlight that goes up and down. I have some NMM. I have an NMM PDF really early on in my, if you're on my Patreon, Fubeka. It's actually on a 28mm figure. It's steel NMM on a dark sword knight that I did for Jim. And the breastplate is, I think, really a good lesson on that. The thing with non-metallic metal is that where you put the highlights change on not only the surface, but like the way the surface is angled, right? An arm that you're holding up is going to be different than an arm that's holding down, or, you know. Yeah, search keywords for non-metallic metal. I think I always have used non-metallic metal and not NMM as a keyword. And that should bring up all the NMM. But yeah, I mean, NMM is always a little bit different because you have to figure out, okay, where's my light coming from? Okay, where's my highest highlight? Okay, how are my shadows going to run down? Yeah, the brass one's pretty advanced because that's on that creature caster model, and it's a weird... It's got all that intricate surfaces. And I kind of still like that recipe for brass, but I'm kind of still working on it. And I mean, most painters have a variety of recipes that they use for any given NMM. Like, we all have slightly different recipes for gold, and then you change it up, right? You like are working on a different model, and your usual recipe isn't awesome for that model, and so you change it up a little. And I'm just mixing up another shadow so I can put it on here. But yeah, I think some of my my earlier Patreon stuff is really applicable. And I think that the one on the Dark Sword Warrior with the breastplate is actually one of the best ones I've done. We want to introduce a little bit of lining here to pick out the detail there. A little bit of lining there at the bottom as well. And now we're going down here. Doo-doo. Trying to get just some little lines in there to tighten up that and see if I like it. And a little bit of a highlight coming back up on this edge. This is technically a very tight cylinder. But I'm going to have another highlight on the back. I may as well just map in all my highlights at this point. So I don't think we're going to actually finish this one today. We've got another 10 minutes, but I don't think we'll quite get there. Which is fine. We can finish up the bronze next time and finish up the stone and pretty much be done. Let's see, I want to get over here again, and I think I really want my small brush at this point, tiny brush. Always dip your tiny brush in water and squeeze it out before you load it up with paint. Otherwise, your paint is gonna dry too quick. Even there, my paint is wanting to dry a bit. There we go. And I need to line around this part that comes in. I want to kind of put a line in here since this intersection part will be darker, and grab some of my green, bring that in around it. I'm liking this so far. And this side needs a little bit more dark down here. NMM's always more involved than everything else you do, because then you have to worry about reflections and where your highlights and shadows are, all the rest of it. And it is just more time consuming than just simple highlights and reflections on, or highlights and shadows on things that are not terribly reflective. I think I've gotten somewhat faster on NMM over the years, but it still is more time consuming than most other things. And a lot of times you're testing it out and you're seeing how it looks, and then you're like, okay, well that's all right. Or, oh no, that doesn't look quite right, I have to adjust it. Sometimes your gut choice won't be the right one. It happens still with me. So if something doesn't look quite right or quite reflective or not quite the way you wanted it to be, you can question whether you should tweak it. Play around with it until it looks right. There we go. Lovely. That's better. I think I want to knock down this one a little bit. Here we are. So just little adjustments. This is facing toward the front, so it is going to get a lot of attention. So I do want to spend some time on this side to make sure that it looks good. That looks cool. It'll be alchemy until, it'll remain alchemy Val until you start really getting how light falls. Start thinking about how light falls. The more you understand how light looks like and what it does on varying surfaces, the better, the easier it will be for you to extrapolate a complex non-metallic metal surface like this. But when you are still struggling for where to place basic highlights on non-reflective surfaces, that's really, really hard. Because if you don't understand like highlighting on a basic surface, then you're not going to be able to visualize NMM. Weird goals. So really just work on your zenith and overhead lighting and your understanding of how light works just on regular surfaces. And then when you feel like you're pretty solid, put a little bit more light verdigris here. When you feel you're pretty solid on that valve, then you'll be able to tackle non-metallic metal with a lot better of a gut instinct for it. And understand why it works the way it does. Yeah, because you're going with your gut, Fubeca, instead of like overthinking it. What that proves to you, Fubeca, is that your gut understands. Like, it's just having a disconnect with your brain. So probably the best thing for you to do would be to try to analyze, like, take a picture of the thing when it's wrong, and then, you know, work on it, and when you start smooshing things around, if you get it to the point where it's right, take another picture of it at that point. Then look at them side by side. See exactly where you adjusted shading and exactly where you adjusted highlighting. Dissecting that is going to give you a better understanding of how and why it works. But I mean, the basic thing with NMM is, you know, brightest highlight where the light's going to be hitting. It's hard to do. Vertical blades like this are the hardest. It's much easier if you start with a blade that's horizontal. Then there's a very, very predictable way you would highlight and shade it. But essentially, it's brightest highlight, and right under that, you're going to have a shadow. See how I've put darker shadows? But you've also got a little bit of the edge to bring out here. So I've added a secondary highlight kind of dancing down these edges. Then the light falls down, and you've got this area here. And then that area curves out toward you, and then it cuts back away from you. If you think of that area as a mirror, and your viewer is up here, you know, slightly above the model, which is what we usually say, then what you've got is that if light falls here, it's going to bounce toward the eye of the viewer, who's right out at the tip of my brush. So that's where this bright highlight comes in. Because that's light bouncing toward the viewer's eye. You have to, if you imagine it as a mirror, imagine where your viewer is usually going to be, which is slightly above the model. That's the angle right before it cuts away, because at this undercut side, it's bouncing down, right? Light it's here would be bouncing down. And it's not going to do that if light is like linear, right? So it falls and then it bounces out. And then you've got a shadow right under that because, well, the light just bounced away, so you don't have any light falling right there. It means it's going to have a shadow. If you keep going down, then you're going to have a reflection of light from the surrounding, and that's your under reflection. Highlight, shadow, and under reflection are what you're looking at. If you can master those concepts, you can do good NMM. But the more weird the surface is that you're starting from, the harder it gets. So, darks and lights. And then more darks. But yeah, the whole highlight, dark shadow, then build up to another highlight, which is usually an under reflection. Is like, that's, I've been teaching NMM like that, basic NMM like that for decades. That's how that's where I started. And then from there, you can branch out and try to learn. Then you're learning shapes and how to adapt that philosophy to shapes. Specific shapes. And sometimes you're taking a little artistic license and it's not particularly accurate, but it works for the model. That's also a thing. You're not always going for blatant realism. Sometimes it's just that it looks better that way, so you do it that way. I'm okay with talking chimeras. Especially if they're tiny and we can have them as pets. All right, so highlight, shadow, builds back up to another highlight because this is on the upper surface. Technically, I should even lighten this area right here, but I don't really want to because I feel it looks better dark. So there we go. There's an artistic license moment. Highlight, shadow, build up to another highlight, shadow, under reflection. That tiny little under reflection I just put on there. Ta-da! So basics, start there. Start there. And never, even if you love metallics and you don't like NMM, it does not hurt to learn these principles because you can make your metallics look better. Bring in some of this light. And then it's just futzing with it till you think it looks good. So that's looking decent. So on a cylinder, you have a highlight, and a highlight, but not all your highlights are created equal. And then another highlight here. But not all your highlights will be as bright. Because that'll depend on where the light is and how much bounce light you have and how bright your metallics are. Technically, this should be very bright. I am choosing to do artistic license and make the other side also bright because it's facing the viewer. So I want it to show up. Even though technically there probably shouldn't be quite this much light on it, I'm going for it anyway. So that's an example of, choosing to change physics to suit your artistic sensibilities.
Are you violating the laws of physics?
I always violate the laws of physics, love. If it looks better, I do it. David never violates the laws of physics. Which is why he's very good at light, and I just kind of hash it together. Chibi says violating the laws of physics is part of Anne's charm. David's not buying it, Chibi. All right, so my little tiny brush just forked. Are you still here, Fubeka? The reason it forked is that paint got all the way up. See it? So then my little tiny brush wanted to fork. So also look at how much you're loading your new brushes, to see if that could be a factor. If paint crawls up your brush and then it forks. Yeah, I know you tried. I agree with you, Chibi. I think it's part of my charm. Yeah, because this little brush just did a fork just for that reason, so And it's a perfectly good little brush. I mean, it can do tiny micro details. So it's not the brush's fault at that point. It's my fault for not watching the paint having gotten up too far in the bristles. And it's very easy for a small brush like this for paint to get up too far. Especially when I'm working with thin paint, because capillary action tends to just pull it right up. So I have to kind of watch for that. So once again. So, okay, highlight, go 90 degrees, highlight, go 90 degrees, highlight, go 90 degrees, highlight. But some of these highlights will be more like reflected lights, so they won't be as bright. So it's not, highlights don't have to always go up to white. Highlights can go, even on metal, under reflection highlights, bounced light doesn't go up as high. But it's still a highlight. And so that's kind of where you can see highlight, shadow, highlight. And if you've got a broad surface, you'll have more blending between these. And also you'll have more blending between your highlight, shadow, highlight if you are, if it's a dull surface and it's not like a really, really shiny metal, you have no blending on a chrome surface. See this? It's just straight lines. The highlights, the shadows, the reflection, it's all just lines. So on an extremely shiny surface, you have no blending between layers, between those highlights, shadows, and reflections. But the more kind of patinaed or dulled or soiled or just like patterned a metallic surface gets, the more like satiny it gets instead of super shiny, the more you'll see those transitions gradually instead of striking. Oh, the Raphaels. See, yeah, I bet the Raphaels are stuck in the Suez Canal. I bet Fubeka is absolutely correct. Brushes are currently being held up. I mean, the news yesterday was saying start to expect shortages in stuff because of that, because it's been so long and there's so many hundreds of ships being held up, and each of those hundreds of ships have, you know, zillions of goods in them because it's a huge container ship. And all of those things are now going to be delayed. Just putting a little bit of a brighter highlight in. And I don't want it to be a super shiny one, so I'm not doing a line. I'm doing more like a kind of a dab across the surface. Yeah, we're about quarter after. All right, I think we're good. So let's see her advantageous position. Let's back out. Back this out of the frame. So there she is. So not too bad. Let's go sideways. There we go. We can go sideways and get a closer up look. So that's where we're going. And we are almost finished. Just got to do some more of the bronze on the back. Get that kind of figured out yet. And then do the little end cap down here, which should be fast. And yeah, then we'll finished with this model. We'll do more stonework. We'll do our bronze. So what we did today, we actually did a lot today. We finished blocking in some red on our bikini strap, which I decided should be red. We also shaded the shield here. We did our raven feathers, and we got some of our bronze done on the shield. So we did a lot of stuff today. Yeah, stippling is really the core of a lot of textures, Fubeka. So yeah, all about it. There are a lot of textures, including skin on busts that benefit from stippling. And remember that, you know, you can use it really thin as well as like thicker, depending on whether you want dots or you want more of a diffused texture. I actually learned how to like stipple layer before I learned how to like dry brush. So I was stippling was one of my earliest techniques, and I still fall back on it a lot. When you want a more organic look, it's very integral. So, all right, yeah, so we did all of that stuff today, and yeah, tomorrow's Saturday. Woohoo, weekend. When we come back, we will be working on finishing up Mr. Dark Dwarf. He has, I think we need to highlight his purple and his black. and do his steel, do his silver and steel. And that's it. So rating Miniac. Awesome. Fantastic. I will see you all on the other side of the weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great one.